The famed Danish author Hans Christian Andersen once said, "Where words fail, music speaks." What makes this statement so much more profound is that the man was neither a musician nor a singer. He was a writer of some of the most popular stories ever written. Most people don't know how prolific this man's career was. I'm sure they recognize the name. But in this age now of people seeking the truth in everything, the vast majority of the truth he brought to light through fairy tales. And what is a song when you write it? It's a make-believe thing that didn't exist before. The Emperor's New Clothes, The Princess and the Pea, The Ugly Duckling, The Nightingale, The Red Shoes. So many different things that brought to light truth through simple fairy tale. Now, some are like, Florida Maquis, why are you leading off with this? There's a lot of negative news out there. And some have said, Florida Maquis, all you talk about is negative stuff. Well, reporting the reality requires that sometimes. But I thought I would lead off today's video by sharing something absolutely spectacular. I have been remiss in reporting this, and this guy deserves a shout out. There is an artist on YouTube, Joe Varveri, and he's just a simple guy and a guitar, so I can relate. He's done a version of Dancing in the Dark, the Bruce Springsteen song, a slower version that will move you. It is amazing. Heard this song growing up in the 80s 1,000 times. His version of it, I will give you a link, is absolutely a must-hear. I've listened to this song now probably 20 times. And I've picked up my guitar and I've worked on it, but I don't want to take away from what this guy has done. This is absolutely one of the best things on the internet. If you want to be lifted up and have hope and believe that there's beauty in the world, listen to this. Joe Var, V-A-R, space, Very, V-E-R-I. Absolutely spectacular. This is his page. This guy deserves a lot more subscribers than he has and a lot more views. There's also another fantastic thing that you can find. Midnight Rider with Vince Gill, Greg Allman, and Zach Brown. Now this has 14 million views, so I'm sure a lot of you out there might have seen this. At the 3-minute and 19-second mark, the guitar solo from Vince Gill is just something you don't want to miss. It's truly one of those wonderful things that just happens spontaneously, and this is kind of the great thing about music to me, but which is another reason why I have kind of shied away from putting it on YouTube, because YouTube just doesn't agree with it these days. I don't know why, they just don't. But I would also like to say a big thank you, a big shout out to all the ladies in my audience. As I'm sure many of you know, last couple of days did a couple of videos talking about specific things women should do to be prepared for when the collapse comes, and the response over at the Patreon channel has been absolutely spectacular. I have never had this much of an increase in viewership over there throughout the entire history of my Patreon channel. So many have showed up and signed up, and the response, the comments have been nothing but appreciation and thanks, and I am humbled. I truly, truly am. We did a video yesterday that we put publicly on YouTube talking about some of these basic tenets, basic things that are going to happen that aren't being reported. And being able to use your mind in an offensive way, using tactics to affect good survival, this can't be ignored. You, of course, have to train, you have to prepare, you have to have certain things set aside. But being able to do certain things that will unconsciously make others do certain things, that's going to be a critical skill. So join us. Florida Maquis Patreon channel. The ladies are over there in force. Only $1 per month, even less if you sign up for an entire year. We can partner with Vimeo so that we can speak in an adult way, not in a way that's overly gratuitous, mind you. There are some things, of course, that aren't meant for polite discussion, but we can talk like adults without having to worry about some political agenda sidelining us. And who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'll go dust off a guitar or two, and maybe I'll put them at Patreon. YouTube is just not some place where it works. And I think, honestly, that's why the person that I spoke about, Joe Varveri, hasn't gotten the recognition he deserves, because that version of Dancing in the Dark, that slow version, is absolutely spectacular. So, anyway, but unfortunately, there is something a lot of you have brought to me, this issue with this new treaty between the failed United States, that I don't include Florida in, by the way, and the UN, the WHO, the World Health Organization. It's not something that Floridians fear, because we do truly now see ourselves as separate. There's Florida, and there's the rest of what used to be the United States, and then there's the world. But don't think we're unique in this, demanding our sovereignty at all costs. The leader of Brazil has come out and unequivocally stated he will have absolutely nothing to do with this treaty. Florida is a state of 22 million people. Brazil is a country of over 200 million people. And they are a player on the world stage by themselves. They control a vast percentage of the world's untapped natural resources in oil, agriculture. Believe me, when they say we aren't playing, they're going to bring people with them. And this is something that when you look at Brazilian culture and you look at Floridian culture, it's unmistakable to see the parallel between how they see the world and how we see the world. 21 May 2022, 7:21 p.m. Jair Bolsonaro says Brazil will not sign globalist WHO pandemic treaty. Jair Bolsonaro announced this week that Brazil will not turn over its sovereignty to the World Health Organization. The WHO, led by, I'm just going to call this guy TAG, T-A-G, Tedros, whatever, T-A-G, TAG, led by TAG, failed repeatedly and pushed outright untruths about the, you know what, thing, sniffles, in 2020. As the Gateway Pundit was first to report back in March 2020, Dr. Tag claimed COVID had a mortality rate that was ridiculously high and caused a panic. This proved to be a ridiculous overestimation of the facts based on faulty calculations. And, of course, this was all called out. Now the globalists, including Joe Biden and the godless left in America, want to turn U.S. sovereignty over to the WHO for future crises determined by the China-dominated organization. Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro says, "No way, this is happening with Brazil. National sovereignty is not something to be handed over to the WHO or other entities and to be renounced just to join a club of seemingly advanced nations." Seemingly advanced nations. That's the key. At this point, I would recommend to Floridians, embrace the labels they're going to put on us. Embrace them. Don't try to fight back. Say, yeah, if that's what we are, and it means freedom, and it means liberty, and it means the rule of law, and it means financial blessing and surplus and bounty, if that's what you want to label us as, then label us as that. We'll take it. The Crown tried to label everybody in the New World with all sorts of negative things to make them feel shame and to make them feel insecure and to make them feel like less. This is not a new tact. This is not a new tactic. It's age old. So I would just to all of you freedom-loving, freedom-minded people here in Florida, embrace any name they want to call you and say, okay, you're right, but this is what it means in reality to be that thing. Because the world is shifting. The world is in the middle of a giant upheaval, of a giant change right now. And this has happened historically. So that's not new either. But I love this view of the Western Hemisphere because this is how our European ancestors saw it. Those who came here wanting freedom when they came across the Atlantic. And they came to this area that was beautiful and tropical and absolutely gorgeous, with fresh air and rest and... Sorry, I had the wrong picture up. I mean, can you imagine an undespoiled Caribbean from the West Indies all the way through Florida? What that must have been like to see. And it's not a coincidence that this is a South American thing that they won't give up. In South America, and I'm not saying Mexico, in South America, but parts of Mexico, Latin culture values these things more than anything. There's nothing that they don't believe they can't cure. From fresh air, exercise, water, rest, good diet, and sunshine. There's literally nothing that they don't believe that if you get enough of these and you get rid of a whole bunch of other negative things and you just boil it down to the simple things that the body God blessed you with will find a way to fix and heal itself. And you can add music into this as well. So, started talking about Brazil well over a year ago. I said, keep your eyes on Brazil. There's going to be a shift. There's going to be a power change, and they're going to be leading the world. And right now, this is exactly what's going on. They are in a leadership role along with Florida. Something's coming, guys, and you're going to have to make a decision. But I will leave it there. Once again, thank you to all the ladies in my audience. I wish I would have targeted more of my content at you guys a long time ago, based on the response that I've seen over at the Patreon channel. I have my analytics here that Google shows me, and it says that 80% of my audience is men. Well, the 20% that's left that are women are responding in a huge, huge way over at Patreon. So probably going to start to shift my content a little bit based on those who want to engage and want to support the Florida Maquis. So those of you who haven't seen it, should probably go check it out. There's some suggestions over there that many people wouldn't think of, and they're simple suggestions, but they could be really, really effective. So once again, $1 US, fully refundable, first 90 days. It's the lowest allowable level. Check it out for a couple months. If it's not for you, $2 right back, $3 right back at you. No big deal. So I'll leave it there. God bless. Happy Sunday. Like, share, subscribe, and once again, Midnight Rider with Vince Gill, Greg Allman, the guitar solo at 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Spectacular. And guys, seriously, some of you guys that want to maintain your manhood, you may want to listen to this in the shower, because it'll bring a tear to your eye. It is that good. I guarantee, I promise you, nobody out there will listen to it once. You'll be hard pressed to just listen to it twice. It's that good. So I'll leave it there. God bless. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.